On the 40th floor of Pillsbury's headquarters, Kevin Hurley, the imposing president of retail sales operations for Häagen-Dazs, reviews a projected map of the USA, and he is not a happy man.
These numbers just don't stack up,
he says, walking across to the giant screen. On it, each state contains a green number, representing the estimated sales growth for Häagen-Dazs ice cream for the rest of 1984. The general picture is good. Actually, it's amazing. Häagen-Dazs is growing at a phenomenal rate, with one notable exception.
Why are we going backwards here?
Hurley says, jabbing a thick forefinger into the area around New England. He turns to the three members of his team sitting across from him.
Everywhere else, green numbers, growth. But look at New England. It's turned red. We're losing share. What's going on, guys? What don't I know?
His team shuffle papers and exchange anxious glances.
It's just a local competitor, Ben and something,
one of the executives says. She picks up a report and flips to a specific page.
Here it is. Ben and Jerry's homemade ice cream,
she says, reading from the relevant section.
It's a tiny brand from Vermont. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Just a local favorite up there.
Hurley grabs the report. He knows the ice cream game better than anyone, and unlike his inexperienced team, he is very worried.
Yeah, sure. We were just a local favorite once upon a time, too. And then we got big. Everything I know about the ice cream game says we need to be very worried about these Vermont guys. I need everything we have on this Ben & Jerry's outfit. Distribution, flavors, pricing, marketing. And I need it yesterday.
The executives gather up their documents and quickly head for the exit. Alone in the giant boardroom, Hurley looks out of the window. The sun is setting on a freezing cold April day, and his eyes look past the surrounding skyscrapers towards the snow-covered prairies that surround Minneapolis. After all these years running sales and distribution for Häagen-Dazs, Kevin Hurley has learned to trust his instincts.
This is a threat,
he says, staring at his own reflection. He always knew at some point competitors would enter his turf. Is this the moment? And is he ready?
I need to nip it in the bud.
My name is Mark Ritson. I'm a former business school professor and the founder of the Mini MBA. And this is the 100 greatest marketing case studies of all time. Number 44, Häagen-Dazs versus Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream Wars. Ruben Matus looks pensive as he sits at the kitchen table of his Bronx apartment. He stares, deep in thought, at an empty ice cream pot sitting in the middle of the table. It's 1959, and his company, Senator Frozen Products, is in trouble. Matus landed in New York from his native Poland 30 years ago, and almost as soon as his feet had touched American soil, he started selling ice cream. To begin with, it was simple frozen lemon juice, sold during hot summer afternoons to overheated New Yorkers. But gradually, with the help of his wife Rose, the Matus family built a successful regional ice cream business. But 1959 had been a tough year. The big ice cream companies like Borden and Good Humor are in a price war with each other. Prices keep dropping, and with them profits, and the quality of all the ice cream being sold has never been worse. Expensive ingredients are being reduced or removed, and the big companies now use overrun, air pumped into their ice cream to inflate their products and keep costs down. Most ice cream now sold around New York consists of 100% overrun, meaning a pint of ice cream is no such thing. It's really half a pint, with the rest made from injected bubbles.
What's the matter, Ruben?
Rose asks her husband as he sits sadly at the table.
Everything,
he says.
Just everything. I hate what this business is becoming, Rosie. Ice cream used to be a treat, a luxury. Now it's just a low-quality combination of cold, sweet nothing.
He looks out the window, his brows furrowed.
Everyone in this business is in a race to the bottom. With all these price cuts and discounts, there's no way we can make money anymore. not a company of our size and scale. The big guys are killing us, I tell you, just killing us. We can't even use overrun to reduce our costs because that goddamn injection pump is broken again. The best it does is 20% air. 20%? What good is that? I don't see any way we can survive if things go on like this another few months.
You'll think of a way, Reuben. You always do. What is it you always tell me? That you're a marketing man. That you do it differently. Because
She pauses and affectionately impersonates her husband's favorite phrase.
if you're the same as everyone else, you're lost.
Matters smiles forlornly. He kisses his wife on her forehead, but he's lost again in thought, staring at the empty ice cream pot. His face, though, begins to change, and a smile gradually appears. Eventually, Matters stands, with a sudden look of determination.
You know what, Rosie? You're right. We don't have to be like everyone else. In fact, why can't we be the different one? Completely different. If ice cream is getting cheaper, why don't we go in the opposite way?
What do you mean, Reuben?
I mean, why don't we make expensive ice cream? Premium ice cream. Screw it, super premium ice cream. With real ingredients. Double the butter fat. And rather than fix that injection pump so it pumps more air, let's make it our point of difference. You tasted that ice cream we made last week with the 20% overrun? What did you think?
You know what I think. It was amazing. It was so rich, so luscious. It was incredible. But we can't sell a product like that, Reuben. It wouldn't make us a dime. The cost of the product alone would kill us, especially in this market. We'd be broke in weeks.
True, but only if we match these schmucks and their low, low prices. What if we don't charge 52 cents a pot? What if we charge 75 cents? Let's send a signal to the market that this is ice cream that is different, that's better, worth more. I don't want scratchy little numbers like 52 or 53 cents. I want to round up to honest, big numbers, Cadillac numbers, 75, 80 cents. It sends a message that this is not a penny-pinching low-end product. This is the best ice cream you ever tasted.
80 cents, Reuben. Who would pay that kind of money for ice cream? Have you lost your mind?
Trust me, Rose, folks are sick of this airy, artificial slop. It tastes of nothing. And I'm not going to play that game anymore. I'm going to make special ice cream for people who want a special taste. And I know there are people out there willing to pay for it.
Matters develops a plan to make the finest ice cream that money can buy. By total chance, Reuben's faulty injection pump creates a richer, more luxurious taste compared to his air-filled competition. And the formula gets even better when he ups the butterfat content from the usual 10% to an unheard of 17%. For a final touch of luxury, he avoids the artificial flavors beloved by his competitors and uses real vanilla beans, raw chocolate, and cups of espresso for his 3 bold flavors. When he's perfected the formula, he tests it on a highly skeptical wife.
Reuben, this ice cream, it's incredible. My goodness.
I know, amazing, right? But it's still missing the most important ingredient. It needs the right name. No one is going to believe that ice cream from the Bronx tastes this good or that it's worth the big ticket price we need to charge. So what we need is a foreign name, something that sounds exclusive, different, something people will take a look at and say, hey, is this imported?
You mean something Polish from the old country?
Well, actually, I was thinking we needed a Danish name.
Danish? You don't know nothing about Danish. You never even been to Denmark. Do you know any Danes? Well, do you?
I know. But when I think Denmark, I think of all that great Scandinavian dairy, the amazing butter, the perfect cream, those Danish milkmaids with big, generous scoops of the stuff. And they're a wonderful nation, Rosie. Look how they helped so many of our people in the war. No one was kinder to the Jews. The more I think about it, the more certain I am. We need a Danish name.
So later that evening, one of the most unlikely and important moments in the history of brand naming begins in earnest. Ruben Mattes, without a single word of Danish, sits on his couch in the heart of the Bronx and attempts to come up with an authentic-sounding Danish name for his new ice cream brand.
Hugelklik, Blafnor, Splashkort, Lungkora, Fjumperfloga, Drizzledanza, Grumpenwusch, Morgendath, Huffendath, Hagendas. Wait now. Hagendas. Hagendas. That's it. Rosie, wake up. I got it. Hagendas. I got it.
Häagen-Dazs. The name doesn't mean anything, Mattes thinks to himself, but boy will it attract attention. And to make doubly sure, he adds an umlaut, even though they do not exist in the Danish language, over the first A in the name. He also changes the last letter from an S to a Z because he thinks it adds a little flair. And in a final touch of Scandic fakery, he adds a red and white Danish flag. The new brand is complete. Häagen-Dazs ice cream launches in 1960. Initial sales in high-end Manhattan stores build its luxury status, especially as college kids head back to their Ivy League campuses after a weekend in the city, clutching tubs of this new high-end luxury dessert. Realizing the impact these stores are having on brand image, Ruben lists Häagen-Dazs' headquarters in the Manhattan phone book, even though its actual home is across the Harlem River in the Bronx. It has snob appeal, he explains to his wife. I'm not sure it's a good idea to let people know it comes from the Bronx. Incredibly, every aspect of Ruben Mattes' unlikely brand strategy eventually works to perfection. He really was a marketing man, and his advanced grasp of positioning, differentiation, and his ability to drive it through every aspect of the brand's name, packaging, product, price, and distribution results in a phenomenal new brand and ultimately remarkable commercial success. The Häagen-Dazs brand not only grew into a national success story, it also created a new subcategory of ice cream, the super premium sector, where prices and quality levels exceeded anything that consumers had seen before. And thanks to this first mover advantage in this new subcategory and the efforts of the Mattes family, by 1983, 70% of the super premium ice cream sold across the USA came in a Häagen-Dazs pot. That same year, food giant Pillsbury buys Häagen-Dazs for $70 million. The Minneapolis-based company imports the whole Häagen-Dazs team, now led by Kevin Hurley, Ruben's son-in-law, into Pillsbury to continue to run the brand. And that is how Kevin Hurley finds himself in the spring of 1984, sitting at his desk in Minneapolis, contemplating slowing sales of Häagen-Dazs in the Northeast region.
Jane, who is our biggest distributor out in New England?
Hurley taps his pen on the desk as his assistant checks the sales records. Häagen-Dazs, like most food brands, does not sell direct to stores. It uses a network of smaller regional distributors who buy the product in mass from Pillsbury, then deliver it into local stores each week. It's this network of independent sales managers who effectively sell the product.
It's Dan Proctor, out of Boston.
Hurley's assistant eventually replies.
Get him on the line, would you?
Hurley flicks the call to speakerphone and leans back in his chair.
Dan, it's Kevin Hurley over at Häagen-Dazs. How's business?
Great, Kevin. Our orders just keep getting bigger and bigger. Every month is a new record, and you're our number one, Kev. People can't get enough Häagen-Dazs. You know that.
Doesn't seem that way from our March numbers, Dan. We're flat in Massachusetts. Hell, in Connecticut, we went backwards last month for the first time. What's going on?
It's probably just a blip. We've had some local brands here that are popular just right now. But I'm sure it's a passing fad. Nothing that we would...
This is this Ben & Jerry's outfit, right?
Yeah. They're out of Vermont. Couple of hippies. They started exporting from their shop, I think, last year. They've got a cute little production line. Tiny outfit. Really nothing to worry about. They've been...
Listen, Dan, you are my distributor, right? And I don't appreciate it when you start selling other brands on our turf and our time. We're part of Pillsbury now. They are huge, which means we're huge. And I can't have one of my best distributors selling the competition alongside our brand. It just won't fly. Do we understand each other?
Kevin, They're barely 5% of my sales, but when people ask for them, I sell them. You know, I carry what my customers ask me to carry. You know that.
Dan, you can sell Haagen-Dazs or you can sell Ben & Jerry's, but you can't sell both. It's us or them, Dan. I'm going to have our lawyers draw up an exclusivity contract, and I am going to need you to sign it. I'll give you 6 weeks, but if you keep selling Ben & Jerry's, you will lose Haagen-Dazs. It's as simple as that. Imagine your business without us, Dan, because Pillsbury is not bluffing. I am not bluffing.
Kevin, this isn't right. I don't think you...
We build Haagen-Dazs on exclusivity. That's how you stay premium in this business, my friend. It's us or them. 6 weeks, Dan. Contracts in the mail.
Kevin!
Clustered around a table in the food court of Logan Airport in Boston are a small group of middle-aged managers in short-sleeve shirts. They represent every ice cream distributor in New England. In the middle sit two very unlikely characters. One is bearded and wearing flip-flops. The other sports a bucket hat and a T-shirt with a cow on it. Both Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield are messily eating Whoppers while the distributors wait uncomfortably for them to finish. In front of the two founders is a large, unopened cardboard box. Eventually, one of the distributors gets impatient and interrupts.
Ben, we all got the same call. Pillsbury says it's Haagen-Dazs or it's you. If I carry Ben & Jerry's, I lose the business and most of my sales.
A second distributor chimes in.
I could lose half my inventory overnight and half my sales. I gotta think about my employees. We can't survive without Haagen-Dazs. It's nothing personal, Ben. We love you guys. You're a breath of fresh air in this industry, but this is serious stuff, man.
Ben Cohen smiles.
Look, we know how tough this is. And I'm no expert, but it feels like what Pillsbury is asking you guys to do is illegal. Like they're trying to choke us while they're trying to restrict you.
He finishes his burger and grins at the circle of worried faces around him.
We're looking into it. We think we may have a legal case against these guys.
Ben gestures to himself and then across to Jerry, who's trying to wipe the last traces of Whopper from his beaming face.
Just give us some time to work things out.
Look, Ben, Jerry, we love you guys. We love your product. But it's simple economics. And if we have to choose, we'll all go with Haagen-Dazs.
Ben taps the cardboard box on the table with a flourish. He opens it and pulls out a handful of pint lids.
How about this? Every single Ben & Jerry's pint sold in New England from now on comes with a special lid. We're putting $1 from each sleeve into a fighting fund, a legal fund for all of you guys. If we win, you'll get every cent back. If we lose, well, hell, at least we went down swinging and didn't let some giant corporation push us and push you guys around without a fight.
Jerry Greenfield, who has now finished his burger, puts his arm around Ben and smiles at the distributors.
Look, the odds are we'll lose. That's how this always plays out. Corporate America usually has its way. But we won't go down without a fight. And we're asking you guys to support us in that fight, at least for the next few months. Give us some time to try and work this out.
One after another, hands reach out for Ben's sleeves of lids. It's a silent but crucial vote of confidence. Later, as Ben watches the distributors exit the airport, he shakes his head and turns to Jerry.
It's not enough, Jerry. A legal fight could get bogged down for years with these guys. And these are good men and women, but you heard them. They won't stay with us forever. They're scared. We need something else. Something better than just the legal approach.
Ben pauses and smiles at Jerry with a mischievous grin.
We're not just going to take Pillsbury to court here. We need to make this fight a public one. We need to let America know about this. We need some customer pressure.
Jerry, unconvinced, shakes his head.
Nobody cares about a tiny Vermont company, Ben, or two ice cream companies fighting over local distribution. It's a non-story, man.
Maybe. But they will care about a big business like Pillsbury trying to crush a little independent company like ours. And that's how I'm going to tell this story. Us against the man. Hell, I'm not even going to go against Haagen-Dazs, Ben. I'm going to make Pillsbury the villain here. That way the optics are much worse, and the pressure on these guys will be all the more intense. It's not one ice cream brand against another, Jerry. Oh no. It's a small, independent business against the whole damn system. We're going to make America care.
Jerry still looks uncertain, but he's learned to trust his boisterous, often brilliant partner when he gets wound up like this.
Do you really think they will notice?
Or we'll make them notice. Because I'm not just going to go after Pillsbury. No. I'm going to target their mascot. I'm going to go after the Doughboy.
Jesus, Ben, you can't do that. Jesus. That's like punching Santa or kidnapping the Tooth Fairy. Everyone will end up hating us, man. You can't pick on the Doughboy. That would be suicide for us.
I don't think so. Beating up the Doughboy will generate attention. And picking a fight with Pillsbury makes this a David and Goliath story. They are a $4 billion company with hundreds of products. The risk to such a huge company is enormous. They have too much at stake. Right now, Pillsbury think their size means they can do whatever they like to us. But their massive size is their biggest point of weakness. They just don't know it yet. Not until I get a hold of that Doughboy. Or we can scare him, Jerry. We can scare him enough to back down.
How are we gonna scare them, Ben? We're hippies. We make ice cream in Vermont. You have mayo on your t-shirt, for Christ's sake.
Jerry, we've been protesting since we were teenagers, right?
Damn right.
So we know how to campaign. We know how to fight the power. We just have never used those skills to fight our own corner. I'm talking hotlines, bumper stickers, protests, you know, the whole 9 yards. Let's fight back. You know me. If I'm in, I'm all in.
Man, I don't know about this. But Harry, you want another burger? That last Whopper was sensational.
Years of activism and countercultural engagement had made both Ben and Jerry experienced campaigners, and they put all of that knowledge to work in the campaign that followed. In what became a prototypical example of guerrilla marketing, Ben and Jerry began to fight back in the court of publicity just as much as they were doing so in the court of law. The campaign famously kicked off with Jerry Greenfield standing alone outside Pillsbury's HQ with a hand-drawn sign that said, "What's the Doughboy afraid of?" Eventually, it became an indelible image, but at the time, it was hardly noticed by even the local Minnesota media. Gradually, however, as event after event unfolded for the next 12 months, word spread about the battle between Ben and Jerry and the mighty Pillsbury Corporation, and eventually, it became headline news.
This morning in downtown Minneapolis, Ben & Jerry's founder Jerry Greenfield was spotted outside the Pillsbury building with a lone picket sign, reading, "What's the Doughboy afraid of?" Local Vermont brand Ben & Jerry's is sending loyal consumers a Doughboy kit.
Aerial banners flew over Fenway Park during today's Red Sox game.
The grassroots campaign by Vermont ice cream brand Ben & Jerry's is gaining momentum.
Over 400 calls are flooding the Doughboy hotline each week.
Two puffy white hands squeeze a pint of Ben & Jerry's with the headline, "Don't let Doughboy's dollars strangle Ben & Jerry's ice cream."
Ben & Jerry's is featured in this week's Rolling Stone magazine.
In the New Yorker magazine today, a new article examines the battle between Pillsbury.
The Hartford Courant carries a special report today on Ben & Jerry's.
This morning's Wall Street Journal examines the growing war between Pillsbury and tiny Vermont ice cream brand Ben & Jerry's.
The New York Times carries a lead story today about Ben & Jerry's.
News from the USA now, where a tiny ice cream company is taking on one of America's biggest corporations.
のニュースです。小さなアイスクリーム会社がアメリカ最大の企業の一つに挑んでいます。
After 12 very long months of ever-increasing coverage, the executives at Pillsbury were starting to feel the heat.
Kevin, it's Richard Wegner on line 1.
Dick, what's up? Fourth phone call this week from one of our senior attorneys. I am honored. Whatever could this be about?
I'm afraid things are getting out of hand, Kevin. This crazy publicity campaign just keeps getting bigger. The chairman is really unhappy. We're getting a lot of letters from all over America, all supporting these Vermont guys and telling us that we're un-American. It's really causing problems upstairs. You know, last week the chairman even got a letter from Charlie Pillsbury, the great-grandson of our founder. Even he is on Ben & Jerry's side.
Dick, our distributors are selling the competitor's product.
But they aren't our distributors, Kevin. not in the eyes of the law.
Wegener hardens his tone. He's no sales expert, but he does know that there are a host of laws and statutes in place to prevent suppliers like Pillsbury from dictating what their distributors can and cannot do. Kevin Hurley is a formidable presence, but his competitive streak has blinded him to the legal realities his actions are now resulting in.
Ben & Jerry's are going into court on Friday, and they are probably going to get a temporary restraining order against us. We won't be allowed to restrict distributors from selling Ben & Jerry's. And that's just the first thing. The bigger issue is that the verdict will make every front page in the country, and then we are going to really look like the bad guys. I cannot tell you how unhappy that would make them upstairs.
What are you telling me, Dick?
I'm asking you to step back. Sign a stipulation that gives Ben & Jerry's your word you will not ask distributors to drop their product. We can avoid this court decision and all the messy headlines that would follow. Our doughboy has a black eye, Kevin. We need to end this.
If I do that, we may never see the back of these guys.
This message isn't coming from me, Kevin. It's coming from the very top. It's over.
You know the worst part of all of this? This last 12 months of crazy publicity hasn't just caused pain for Pillsbury. It's also built the Ben & Jerry's brand, and built it better than they ever could have done on their own. Every time you see these two in the media, they look like small, kooky guys from Vermont with this groovy ice cream brand fighting big corporate America. It's a story that sells itself. These guys are famous now, coast to coast. And the whole time people are hearing their brand name and they are desperate to try it. I've given them the biggest boost their brand could ever wish for. Now we are facing the very threat I was trying to shut down. A big national super premium rival to Häagen-Dazs. And I can't stop wondering whether if I had done nothing a year ago and just left them alone up in Vermont, they might never have become big in the first place. Did I just build their brand, Dick? Did my strategy to stop Ben & Jerry's end up giving them their big start?
A few days later, Kevin Hurley signed the stipulation, and within weeks, Ben & Jerry's was back on every shelf in New England. Soon after, thanks to its newfound fame and attractive backstory, the brand also began to grow its distribution quickly across the rest of America too. And in 2014, 30 years after Kevin Hurley initially tried to throttle the business, the unthinkable happened. Ben & Jerry's overtook Häagen-Dazs as the biggest super premium ice cream brand in America.